What's going on, squad? So there is no ISO chain in this video. There's no ISO max in this video, but we do have one Bullworker. And I've actually had this Bullworker for, I would say, probably over 5 years at this point. When I first started going down the isometric rabbit hole and I started researching YouTubers like Machismo, whose channel is primarily about the Bullworker, definitely recommend checking his video out if you want a more comprehensive, in-depth guide on this device. And the Buy-A-Near, I started to run into products like this. Now, I had never heard of this product before, but it looked a little bit gimmicky at first until I realized the potential of what this product can do for us, especially in the realm of isometrics, because you guys probably already know I'm a huge proponent of measurable isometrics. If we're able to measure our force in any way, shape, or form, I am sold. Not to say that loadless isometrics don't have their place. They definitely do, and in fact, I have a whole playlist on loadless isometrics. If you haven't seen that, here's a link right here. Go ahead and check that video. It's amazing, amazing videos and amazing playlists. But the Bullworker is a very simple product. You have two handles here, another two handles here. You could do like type of rows, pull out here, even right there. Like, I really felt my delts activate. But what I really like about the Bullworker is its ability to really quantify how much strength we are putting into the contraction. And so what I mean by that is, if you look here, this is a telescopic pipe. Now, there's a spring in here. I'm going to go over the springs in a second, but you can actually produce force and watch this slider go up. Now, it starts at 0 and it ends at 120. Now, I don't know if this is pounds of force. I would say probably not. It's its own Bullworker metric, but the fact that we have some type of number that we can use to gauge our progress is a big deal. So for example, if we were pushing here and this is about all we could do, right there was about 33 pounds or 33 units of force, whatever unit that is for this. And then if you push a little harder, oh, that was about 113 units of force. It's definitely a great tool to measure force, but most importantly, progressively overload. Take your muscles to failure and progressive overload. Those are the keys to developing strength in any realm of fitness, whether it's static or whether it's dynamic, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart so you guys can see the inner workings of it. I remember the first time I did this, I thought I had broken it, but there's a little switch here. I'm gonna zoom up on it here. I don't know if you can see it. So if I pull this apart and twist it out, this takes the whole thing out, and then you start to see the product for what it really is. Just a telescopic pole with a spring inside. So you take this out, right? Make sure this doesn't slide off here. And you have whatever this is supposed to be called, and then the spring slides on top of it, and you put this inside, put this over top, and then bring this back over top, and then it's set. Now, there are different levels of springs, which is what I really like. So this is the level 1 spring, the white spring. I'm gonna put this stuff down for a second, grab the Bullworker bag that came with it, and inside are the gray spring and the black spring. Now, the gray spring is about a medium level of difficulty, and the black spring is the heaviest level of difficulty. I don't know what these springs are rated at, but I know that this one usually has me feeling a type of way when I finish. Definitely a great grade of spring here. You feel it. And usually what I use my Bullworker for is the fly motion. So because we don't really have that option on the Isomax, right? It's omnidirectional, but we're not able to pull apart and push together. But here's how you swap the springs out. If you've been training for a while, the white spring is probably not enough for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip right over the gray. I'm gonna put the black one in. I'm gonna do a couple of demonstrations just so you guys can see just how tight and how powerful this spring is. So once everything's set, I'm gonna go ahead and push this in. Yeah, already, it's even hard just to put it in. Oh, geez, it wants to fight. It wants to fight. Okay, there it is. Okay, so now it's all locked in here. All right, I'm seriously gonna try here. I know this is hard. It's been a while since I've done this. What'd I get? 120? Yeah, above 120. That's what I'm talking about. This you truly feel, and again, the fact that you can quantify your progress with this is huge. And now that we know how to progress ourselves with isometrics, we could do a 3x6 with this. We could do a 6x6 with this. Maximal contraction for 6 seconds. We need a timer for this, but we can also do our 3x20s, 3x45s. For hypertrophy, right? For example, let's say that I could only push 100 on here, right? But I want chest hypertrophy. I want to use the Bullworker exclusively to get some chest hypertrophy. And I know that my number on here is 100. What do we do? Well, what have we learned? It doesn't just apply to only the Isomax, all right? There's universal. So we will take 60% of that, which is 60. And so now we can actually have the product face us, but for the sake of the video, I'll have it face you, and we can try and hold 60 pounds of force for 20 to 45 seconds and progressively overload that way. Why? Because we have a way to measure how much force we're outputting. The more information that we have, the more effective our workout becomes. If this telescopic pipe, if it didn't have this number, the value of it would take a hit. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't be effective. It still would, because all the other components for actually the strength development is there. But simply having a number, some way to progressively overload by seeing a number and trying to beat it, really simple stuff, makes all the difference in our isometric training endeavors. So because this is still an isometric device, you get all the benefits of training isometrically. You still have the Fen effect, all right? So it's in full effect, haha. We have Hebb's rule, okay? So muscle fibers that wire together, fire together. And by the way, Hebb's rule isn't exclusive to isometric training, it's not. Fen effect is a bit because of how isometrics work in detail. And if you haven't seen a video on the Fen effect, I highly recommend checking it out. Here it is right here. Definitely go check that out. It's a very important video if you are delving into the realm of isometrics. But you also have the joint integrity and the strengthening of the tendons and ligaments by performing these isometric exercises. So remember, joints are under load without any movement. So this is absolutely huge for longevity, being able to train for many, many years, many, many decades, and not be that older guy that says, man, when I was younger, I used to squat 300, 400, 500, but now that I'm older, my joints don't allow me to. Isometrics are the key to solving that issue. And if you haven't seen a video on isometrics and joint health and integrity, here's a link right here. That is another very important video that is massively underrated. I wish I'd known that when I first started lifting, but definitely go check that video out. Now, there's a ton of exercises that we can perform on here. I won't perform all of them, as I believe there are well over 20 of them, but I can go over a couple real quick just to kind of show you guys. So for example, the row kind of looks like an archery row, but like you're here and you pull back. So you keep this arm extended, very slight bend in it, but you drive your arm back like this. Right there, you really feel the lat contract in a way that, it feels good. My favorite exercise on the Bullworker is definitely the fly. All right, so some might say it's the chest press because you're pressing, but this, again, this mimics the fly only isometrically. So essentially, what's the fly motion? This, right? So just see this. This weren't an isometric device, but it's the same concept, right? You can perform a bicep curl. You can have your hand down here and curl up and hold it, and you can see how much power you're able to generate here. One of my favorite exercises on here outside of that exercise would be this one. So I should know the name of this, and I'm gonna put it on the screen once I figure it out, but the name just eludes me at this time. But we just pull it apart like this. So think of like Alexander Zass pulling himself out of his prison cell. Grab the handles here and you just pull it apart. All right, in fact, let me see if I could pull a prison cell. Probably not. I would like to get over 50 for this, but let's see. Oh, that was 6 seconds, right? What'd I get? 58 or, yeah, 58. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm not gonna escape any prison cells anytime soon. But it's nice to know that you can work those muscle groups. Now, I felt that extraordinarily in my delts. I mean, they activate. I felt that immediately, and it really reminds me of the front raise exercise on the Isomax, where you really feel that crazy pump and burn, exerting essentially MVC, maximal voluntary contraction, against that bar for 6 seconds. It really isolates the front delt. Again, definitely more exercises to cover, but a great variety. Now here's where the Bullworker falls short. And that is, there are very few leg exercises that we can perform on here. Now I know that Bullworker has a website and a couple of images on Google where you can just kind of type in Bullworker legs and you'll see some kind of off the wall variants that you can perform on there. Can you do them? Yes. Would I recommend them? Not really. I think one that comes to mind is like some variation of leg extension. Let me see if I remember correctly. It's kind of like this, right? So you're just pulling up like this. Quadricep is coming up. And I mean, do I feel it? Yes. Is it optimal? Not really. Does it work? Yes. Comparing this to the Isomax, I think it's like night and day for what you're able to do on there. Lower body wise, that's not really fair to compare apples to oranges in my opinion, because this definitely has its own unique advantages and also disadvantages as with any product. As far as routines, again, you can go on bullworker.com. I'll link in the description and you can find a whole bunch of different exercises. And what's great about it, and I know I mentioned a different exercise before, what's great about it is that based off of our knowledge of isometrics and how the 6-second contractions work, because this is OI, this is overcoming isometric, pushing or pulling against an immovable force. Now I know there's a telescopic pipe in here, so yeah, it's moving, but at its core, this is not yielding isometrics. This is definitely overcoming isometrics. Fun fact, Bruce Lee had a Bullworker back in the day. It was called a tensilator back then. OG squad members know what I'm talking about. I've used that reference before in our channel's history. But you can set up the same type of program with this Bullworker as you can with the iso chain. Some of the exercises, obviously, you can't mimic, but let's say if you were to do the row, the chest press, and the bicep curl in a 6x6 format, you can do that with this. The only difference is the chest press would now become the chest fly. But as long as you have your timer app going on, you can have the 6-second contractions with your 20-second rest time and get a fantastic workout. You will be sweating once you finish this routine, all because we properly programmed the isometric workout. I highly recommend warming up on this device. This is tough. It looks really gimmicky, but I promise you, this is an intense workout if you take it seriously. You need to take these types of products seriously. These are not toys. These are not some type of gimmick. These will get you serious results. But just like in the weight room, if you treat the dumbbells like a toy, you're going to get toy results. You treat the barbells like a toy, you're going to get toy results. You treat the Isomax like a toy, you're going to get toy results. But if you treat all those different types seriously, you will get serious results. Make sure that you're tracking your progress. Some pros and cons. I love how portable this is. It came with its own bag. I really like that. I love the ease of use. I love how simple it is to take the springs out, put them back in. I love the simplicity of the exercises. I had a little book that came with this when I ordered it on Amazon a while back. It's been over 5 years, so I have no idea where that book is, but I can always go online and find out how to perform these exercises. Really simple. The images clearly display how to perform these exercises with perfect form. I'd say the only drawback to this device would be the fact that the leg exercises are limited. But other than that, I mean, it's fantastic. I'd highly recommend this product if someone wanted to train isometrics with a little bit of a different approach. Doesn't have to be bar and chain. Bar and chain just happens to be my favorite approach, especially with Dragon Door's Isomax because of the display and the different modes and stuff. That's just my personal opinion. You know, feel free to go ahead and drop your opinion in the comment section below. But would I recommend this product? Absolutely yes. If you are serious about taking your isometric training to the next level, can't really get an Isomax right now, can't get an iso chain, but you want something a little different, you can progress with the Bullworker. If you would like detailed instructions on the Bullworker and all of the different exercises and routines and unique ways of using the product, if you'd like to go down that route, I'd highly recommend checking out the channel Machismo, link in the description. It will be the pinned comment for this video. He is one of the reasons the NoLimitSquad channel exists, along with the Pioneer. I binged a ton of his videos on the Bullworker, one of the reasons I got one, and he's very knowledgeable on the subject, and I highly recommend checking him out. Now, something you might not have known is Bullworker actually reached out to me a couple years ago because I made a video on the Bullworker and its loading reflex, and I made a couple comparisons to the old iso chain that came out in 2020. Now, if you'd like to see that old video, here's a link right here. It's a little dated, but the information is great. And if you want to check that out, we'll see you there.